All right, you guys, you've been asking me for my camera settings, so here they are. What's up, you guys, and welcome back for another video. Again, my name is Eric Rainey, and today we're gonna go over my camera settings on my cell phone. A lot of you are probably here because you saw my Instagram account. One of the things that you guys ask me over and over and over again is, Eric, what are your cell phone settings for your camera to get those crisp, clean videos? So today, I'm gonna tell you all of them. First things first, I want you to know I'm using an iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, if you're using an older generation iPhone or a newer generation iPhone or something different like an Android phone or a Google phone, these settings may be very different for you, but overall, I hope that you get the gist of the idea of how I'm filming. This is going to be applicable for those that are on iOS 18. First things first, you're gonna wanna go into your settings. As soon as you open your settings, scroll down to where it says camera and click on that. Now that you've got your camera settings open, at the very top it says record video, record slow-mo, record cinematic, and so on. First things first, for record video, I have that one set at 4K at 60 frames per second. Now you can always change this to something different like 4K at 30 frames per second. The difference there is going to be for when you're editing. When you're editing, it's better to shoot at 60 frames per second if you plan on shooting something that you're going to slow down while you're editing. However, a lot of movies that you see are shot right around 24, 30 frames per second. So a lot of you realistically could put this at 30 frames per second. I just like to personally put mine at 60 frames per second because it gives a more realistic shot and also gives me the ability to slow it down in editing if I want to. Guys, next thing is going to be record slow-mo. Me personally, I have this one set at 1080p and 240 frames per second. Again, the higher the frames per second, the better it's going to look. That was my dog. Again, the higher the frames per second, the better it's going to look when you go to slow it down in editing. All right, now for record cinematic, I have that one set at 4K at 30 frames per second. Record sound, I have mine set at stereo. Formats, I have mine set at high efficiency. I've seen a lot of people say to put it at most compatible. It's a personal preference. I think for the average person will probably be okay if you do high efficiency. It's what I'm using. I am not the super duper expert. So if you are and you know how all of this works better than I do, by all means, please leave a comment and inform all of us the difference between high efficiency, most compatible, and why when it comes to videography and social media, most compatible might be better for us. But in the meantime, to answer the question of what I'm using, it's high efficiency. All right, scrolling down a little bit further under Pro Raw and resolution control, I do have that turned on. Pro Default, I do have that one set to Pro Raw Max. Under video capture, I have that one as Apple ProRes and ProRes encoding set to HDR. The next one, preserve settings. Personally, I haven't messed with this one, so as you'll see, pretty much all of that is turned off. The only ones that are turned on is portrait zoom and live photo. Outside of that, I don't do a whole lot of stuff with this one in particular, so set that up to your liking. The next few, volume up for burst. I love this because if you're taking pictures, what it does, all you have to do is hold the up button on your volume and it just takes a bunch of photos like back to back to back. So if you're taking photos in a group or friends, or you're just out and about and you want to be able to make sure that you get the perfect shot, I recommend that you have that turned on. That way you can hit the button and it'll take a whole bunch of different shots for you. All right, scan QR codes, pretty much all of us need that, so have that turned on. Oh, you may not know this, but if you take a screenshot, you can also highlight the text on it and copy it. In the past, you couldn't do that, but that is something that you can do now. And I know if you have an Android, you've probably been able to do that for years. I get it. All right, guys, we're getting down to the composition. This one is super important. So many of you ask me this over and over and over again. Eric, how did you turn the grid on? It's right here. Turn the grid on and use it. It's great because in photography and videography, there's a rule of thirds. It's how I'm able to pretty much keep this, me, in the center. It's also how when I'm out and about and I'm filming houses, I'm able to line up the shots better to get those leading lines. The other one is called level. Please turn that one on. What it does is when you're taking a photo and you're moving your phone around, it puts a line on the screen and it turns it a solid color as soon as you are level. This comes in useful for when you're freehand shooting something like a house. We're almost done. Underneath that, you have the mirror front camera and you also have view outside the frame. I have both of those turned on. I don't really know a whole lot about them, but I heard from another expert to turn them on, so I have mine on. All right, after that, photo capture, photographic styles. I don't really mess with that. Like I said, I don't take a lot of photos. I mostly do video. Wrapping up, main camera, for me, it's set to 24, 28, and 35. Portraits and photo mode, I have that turned on. Prioritize faster shooting, I also have that turned on. To give you a breakdown of what that is, it means that when you're out and about and you're taking photos, if you were just trying to, like, let's say you're filming something in the moment, it's live, it's a live photo, right? It's going to prioritize taking faster photos versus focusing. That means that your final photo may be a little bit more fuzzy versus if you had that particular setting turned off. Next up, guys, we have lens correction. I do have the setting turned on simply because if it'll fix it and I don't have to, I'll take it. Very last setting is going to be macro control. Like I said, I'm really good at this. However, I am not the super duper expert. So no, I don't know what that one means. I just have it turned on. I don't know. That wraps up today's video. That is the camera settings that I'm using to shoot my videos with. But the most important setting is the one that most of us aren't doing. Don't forget to wipe off the lens of your camera. I know it sounds silly, but realistically, this is most people's biggest problem. Oil, different things from your fingers, your phone being laid in different spots. Just wipe it off real quick before you start shooting, and I promise you your footage will look so much better.